Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coaching Dialogues with Max and Emma. So we are live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And today's topic is family well-being for working parents. And we are celebrating Children's Mental Health Week. So we are taking this opportunity to bring this topic really for discussion. And I'm very happy that I have Emma today again to co-host this event. How are you today, Emma?
I'm good. This is a great topic and one of my favourites to talk about. So thank you for this opportunity.
Fantastic, thank you. So very excited. Okay, so it will be about 20 minutes, but then we'll leave a few minutes at the end to recap a Q&A, and we'll leave you with a couple of resources and links if you want to get any deeper. So Children's Mental Health Week is quite important because we normally talk about adults, grown-ups, mental health. So it's something that's been going on for a very long time, but I just noticed it was the other day, and I posted in the event link. I will repost it again. There was an article from BBC that brought up really the scale of the problem. So I don't have the slides as such today. I want just to show only this one, just to get a little bit of a sense of what's going on. We know the pandemic brought so many issues and put pressure on the family life and children. But if you're looking at the scale of the issues on the topic of anxiety, so this is only related to children, and there are findings from a survey, mainly through teachers and the school institutions in the UK. So anxiety definitely sitting on the top. Attention difficulties, low self-esteem, and depression, anger, self-harm, eating problems is something I heard a number of times. But then you go to very uncomfortable bottom, suicidal thoughts, something that you would never think really is relevant to this space to children. So I think we need just to look for a moment to get this, to articulate in a more granular level what mental health for children really means, and pause for a second, and then we will bring it in context of family well-being with Emma. Very quickly explore the problem statement and see what we can do in terms of emotional awareness and around being present really for our kids. So Emma, just a quick question to start from. What are your reactions in seeing this slide from the survey?
Well, the survey speaks very much to the experience that I have of working with schools over the last 10 years, but particularly in the last 2, that there has been so many spikes in anxiety and behavioural symptoms, more extreme behavioural symptoms showing up in school. A lot more school refusal, a lot more social anxiety. And of course, when we're anxious, of course, we have difficulty focusing. So I'm afraid for me, with my work in safeguarding and working with safeguard leads in schools, this is actually a rather familiar picture. And I know that schools are working extremely hard to try to assist parents and children and to help stock up children with coping strategies. But of course, the social support that a child will get in their life, the most important social support they can feel and get is really from the family. And we are living in an era of working parents at a hard-pressed time, where there's been a hell of a lot of role creep in what our role might be as a parent. Parents are equally worried about their child's progress in education and the gaps that will have emerged from lockdown schooling, for example. But actually, what we need is our eyes on the prize. No one else is there to support our children through their feelings and the difficult feelings that they will face in the same way as we, their parents. So, how can we dial up their sense of social support with us within our relationship, whether we're working parents or whether we're around a bit more, or hybrid, working from home and working away. How can we work with this data in a way that's more empowering and helpful?
Yeah.
It is shocking. It's shocking and frightening.
It is shocking. I think you condensed so many things. I was taking a couple of notes in here. A couple of keywords for me are just a kind of a hyperlink where I would like really to dive a little bit more in on your experience. First of all, just very briefly on around the scale of the problem. Role creep. Also, we mentioned in the post for the event, mission creeping as well. What is creeping into a family? What are the things, the elements that are over and above the old problems that we knew before the pandemic?
I think it's this sense really that we've always got to be doing stuff as a parent, doing. We've got to just do half an hour of reading with our child, just do 15 minutes maths, just do 20 minutes spelling, just do this, just do that, take them to judo, take them to this, take them to that. And we're so busy doing that we kind of miss out on that sort of sense of what we're being. And we can be crowded out by the stuff of life, the stuff of parenting, when actually we need to get back to the core of, we're not an informal maths tutor or vocabulary tester or homework chaser, but, or a concierge or a taxi driver. But quite often that's what we're doing a lot of. And dialing up connection and being really in relationship with our children is the important thing. They need us to be present, not on the phone or in the car or constantly rushing, hustling, doing. They need us to be able to drop into presence, to provide the space, I suppose, for them to say the thing that's on their mind. So that they
This is important. Now you mentioned the problem of doing, missing out, and through connection and being present, giving space to say things. So there's a big call for action here to create this space. But what do we find? Can we explore what do we find in this space? Because that will tell us also what we are missing out. Because that is the eye on the prize that you mentioned before.
I know, I suppose, when I'm parenting or partnering at my best, that I am open, I'm responsive, and I can kind of dance in the moment with my child or my partner. In other words, I'm not crowded by my own pressing agenda. I can just be open to whatever difficult or joyous comes. And that's it, because not only are we shutting down sometimes the difficult stuff by going into doing and fixing and solving, we also shutting out some of the ability to hold on to the sense of play and joy and deeper connection. So alongside of all this stuff, we should not confuse playing sport with play and playfulness. And one big question for families is, where is the play? Where is your playful fulfillment in your interactions with your child? Because where there is that playfulness, there is a deep, deep, less guarded, more creative connection.
I think I can only applaud, and this is so important. To get into this play and joy area. But what do we get out of it? I need to do the GGSC. I need to achieve results, ticking boxes, and prepare the kids for the future. Because without those papers and the rubber stamps, they were not able to proceed into the professional world. But so, what do we get out of this playtime? Out of this joy? What are the long-term benefits?
Well, look, we know folklore that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. It's in The Shining, it's in folklore, and this is about being able to self-regulate. All mammals play in childhood and adolescence. And what do they get out of that? They get to judge in a more nuanced way threat, approach, avoid dynamics with other people. They get to read faces. They get to share and savor joy and relaxation. They can rest and digest. So play, real, fruitful, collaborative play, is a gateway to being able to self-regulate, negotiate, be agile in the moment, test your fears and fantasies. So there's two things here. One is being able to drop into a state. I'm going to borrow your your title, to drop into a state of resonance, where all that clutter in your mind. If they're not getting B's, A's, if they're not getting 7, 8, 9 in their GCSEs, then they're going to be eating out of bins when they're 30. That agenda, you've just got to drop. You've just got to see it coming a mile off. That's fear talking. Because the bottom line is, our kids need to come to us with their fabulous selves, with their fraught selves and their fearful selves and their flawed selves. And they need to be able to say what's on their mind. And when we can drop into that, and they can say some things that are really difficult for us. Like, I don't like myself. I don't feel that I belong. I feel stupid. Those feelings, all feelings, the object of those feelings is some form of completion. And the child's ability to express that inner fear helps declutter it from their mind. And when we'll want to fix it, when our kid comes to us and say, I genuinely feel that I hate myself, we'll argue with that fear instead of actually be present to it. So they don't need us to fix that. They need us to join them in that and help them, finish that feeling. So it means acknowledging it, holding the space for that feeling to exist, and saying, I'm sorry. It stinks that you're feeling like that right now. Or to say, I get it. Or
I get it.
Tough.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is so important. When you mention that's fear talking, for me, I relate to all the external pressure. And we don't want to remove all pressure. This is part of life. But it's important to give voice, a safe environment where you can express that fear that has accumulated, that fill the bucket, the emotional bucket of the kid, of the children, and then we'll be able to empty and create a safety for the life, but also you're modeling for the future what they can do with others. So self-regulation that you mentioned, but also getting into a space. And sometimes we need to make even business sense. Negotiation, for instance, when you negotiate with other people, both on a personal level, but also on a business side. So if you're not able to self-regulate, if you're not able to be in a good place and deal with your emotions, so you won't be successful in any front of your life. So it's incredible how you unpacked, that it's a play and joyful space. They might say, well, why do I need to waste time for anybody there? That you unpacked so many outcomes in the long term for the life of the children.
And I want to be clear, I'm not saying that parents have got to just drop everything and be all zen and Yoda-like, it's not that. This is about being able to take a cheetah pause. Cheetahs are among the best hunters in the world, not because they're going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. We all know that the cheetah is the fastest creature on the planet. But no, the cheetah's real superpower is the ability to decelerate really fast, so they can pivot towards their prey. Now, that's a rather predatory image to use, and I'm not thinking that parents need to be like predatory cheaters towards their children. But when we're able to be agile, to slow right down and be present to what's really going on in our child's mind, to allow that to be explored, expressed, and for them to see that they can say it, that no one blew up, no one lost it, no one crumpled. You provided that space to name it. Actually, they can then move on. And what you've done as a parent is you've used your cheetah pause to really stock up on your emotional bank account with your child. And that means they will trust you and they will share with you and they will come back to you so that you'll have more leverage when it comes to understanding where they're really coming from. And for instance, being able to talk about coping strategies that are more nuanced instead of, look, you're really upset, but what you've really got to be getting on with is organising yourself for your GCSE coursework. So I've done a list here and blah, 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 blah. And basically, they can't move into action when their emotional needs are not being met. So the cheetah pause is the superpower, curiosity and courage around their feeling states, coupled with your own self-regulation, calm and confidence.
It's quite incredible. Again, you packed so many things here that you moved from the metaphor to a concept of credits and debits into this emotional bank account. And we it's clearly painting this picture for the children. What about the parents? What do they get out personally in this process of emotional regulations, in this process of being present with their kids? Clearly benefiting the kids, but what do they get back?
I think you get to see your child more clearly, and also you start to tune into a reality, which is, we can't make somebody else happy. We can't make somebody else work more productively. What we can do is provide that sense of support. We can provide that sense of structure, a framework. They have, it kind of frees you up a little bit as a parent so that they have their stuff to do and you are using your relationship, your relatedness with them to remind them of their capability, their autonomy, their choices, and hold through. What we're doing as a parent is we're trying to build someone through our loving attention who will be increasingly able to cope, self-regulate, be independent, and live a fulfilling life.
I really love it when you said you can make someone else happy. I think that was kind of gone moment for me, because I think we are, because we want to help. Especially your children are your top priority, so definitely you want to do everything is possible. But I think there's an excess of accountability, a responsibility for others.
Yeah.
Having that thought that I do everything I can, I provide presence, support, tools, of tips, framework, everything. You just throw all your ammunition you can for others to build on. But I think it frees up your mind. If you don't hold the constant thought of responsibilities, accountability, they will drain energy for something else. And I think for being a parent and having so many responsibilities, you need to find a way to free up in order to do better in everything that you do. Otherwise, it will constantly drain energy. So that concept for me is something that is quite central.
It's about having an inner spaciousness, I suppose. The inner spaciousness that a parent can access is what is going to help provide that leadership for the children, that connected leadership, not where we're micromanaging them or doing that, what I referred to earlier as concierge parenting, where we're taking on too much, right? But it is about, if we think about the way in which the tap of influence and data that washes through all of our lives, through our smartphones, through our screens, there's more information that's coming through our senses, through our nervous system than ever before. And our brains simply can't keep up with it. And so it's important for the parent to use their inner spaciousness to, drop it all, because again, the mind is very good at sort of doing and thinking unproductively. But when we clear that space to look at what are the emotional boulders that are in our way right now, and when we can just name them and feel felt in somebody else's presence. We know this from our coaching work, but it's something that I know as a parent. I've got a 12-year-old. If I'm too busy doing stuff and hustling her on, I'm not building her motivation, her own inner intrinsic motivation. I care that she's motivated, but I can't do the motivation for her. And it can be busy me trying to do that, but it's not effective me. I need to be able to step back in order for her to step up. So really watching that sort of sense of, when am I, it's like a dance. When am I stepping too far forward and I'm really I'm stepping on my child's toes? And when do I need to step back in order for them to move forward? And when do I need to drop into stillness to just let some silence do the work and come into a reflective space where we can see more clearly what's happening, what's important, what's the impact, and then we can move into action.
That are more than tips, because these are really techniques, fully fledged techniques, to see the bigger picture, going down, see the what's happening on the ground, and the constant movement, or seeing the fine details, or the meta view. But fundamentally, as you said, these are absolutely indispensable, must-have techniques, because we cannot outsmart our biology. We cannot improve, accelerate our evolution from a physical perspective. So we needed to use our capacity at its best by creating space, as you said, and really get the most out of what we have and remove the superfluous. So that is very, very powerful message, Emma. It's very, very brief talk today, so I think we still have a few minutes left. How do you help in your work parents? How do you support them in their well-being?
I mean, I think there's nothing like parenting for experiencing guilt and, telling yourself, scripts that are, rather catastrophic. When things are going wrong, we blame ourselves. We take a hell of a lot on. We tell ourselves, we're a bad parent. We're the worst. We failed our child. And I really think it's important to come into a sense of context. Know that, and the slide you showed at the beginning from the National Association of Head Teachers, the data is clear. We're not alone, and growing as a child through to the mid-20s, which is when adolescence ends, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And sometimes you've got to slow down and do some course correcting in order to speed up. Always bear in mind that an aeroplane spends about 80 to 90% of its time actually off course, but it's the pilot constantly doing little course corrections that makes it go to its ultimate destination, that we get to Hong Kong, that we get to New York. So really remembering that sort of sense of, this is a long journey. This is a long journey, and it's never too late to start to go into it.
It's
So it's
never too
about
late.
recognizing when you're struggling and know that you're not alone. You know, the struggle that you're having as a parent connects you with humanity, and don't let it isolate you. Where, you know, when we guilt and shame ourselves, then, you know, we isolate ourselves, you know, and we make it actually less likely that we're going to take action productively, because it's kind of ruminatory, the self-blame.
Yes.
You know, looking at your friends, people who are your trusted advisors, other parents who you have a non-competitive relationship with, you know, being able to talk to people like that and share and stock up your inner resources with other parents who are in the trenches is helpful. And if that's too difficult or it's too vulnerable, then go to your school and talk to your child's head of year or pastoral lead, because then you'll get a different context to help you contextualize what's going on, your struggle. And overall, you need to be self-compassionate. You need to have a warm and kind attitude towards yourself. You know, self-compassion is the best tool towards moving into learning. So recognize the struggle, own it, connect yourself with, you know, humanity, right? and
Yes.
and reach out and take action from that point of warmth and care. You know, most of us wouldn't talk to a friend the way we talk to ourselves inside our minds,
Yeah.
particularly when it comes to threat towards our children. You know, we can be very harsh on ourselves, and that's just not helpful.
No. Emma, how can parents follow your work, get up to date, getting information? Where is the best place to find you?
So via my website, which is my name, www.emmagledhill.com, there's loads of information about me there. And there's also a link on the homepage to my newsletter, which is called Parenting with Purpose. And that's a free fortnightly article, easy to subscribe to and equally easy to unsubscribe, because we've all got loads of emails coming into our inbox. And I recognise that's need for spaciousness. And I suppose, go on.
Yeah, I definitely recommend to the to whoever's watching now your newsletter. It's something I've been followed really for quite a long time. It's just a monthly email, so don't worry, you don't get daily spam or things from Emma. But it's very insightful. It's very deep. It's all coming from experience. That's what I noticed. You talk from the things that you see, you heard, and the community that you serve. So I definitely recommend your newsletter. It's really something that is very useful for every parent. From my perspective, I work more on the business side. So I had people more to connect to the values and mission in the work, but always with an eye on the private life. We got to go hand in hand, kind of holistic view. But my contribution, because that's my experience, is more getting a balance between performance and well-being at work in order to be present for your family at the right time, because that is also is very important. Emma, final word. We got 1 minute to go. What would be your final message for this crowd? Challenge.
I suppose, to recognise, as working parents particularly, we may be relatively time and energy poor from time to time in family life. We're doing it in the short change of our day, early morning and evening. But it is the quality of who and what we are being as a parent that matters in making some of the time we have real quality time, and being a really seriously good or better first responder. We want our kids to come to us with their fears and their worries, not Mr. Google or not down some algorithm on Mr. TikTok either. We want them to come to us to check in with what's going on. So being a good, attuned responder when our children experience the good, the bad, and the ugly of life, and those big feelings it really matters. And it's not about being 100% present, and it's not about being 100% perfect. It's being able to do it.
Yeah.
When you see your child by their behavior is actually needing a check-in, a real quality check-in.
A check-in, be there, and you want your kids to come to you. That is the key final message. Yeah. Emma, thank you for everything. The challenge of condensing so many messages in a very limited amount of time has been absolutely precious from your experience, and I'm looking forward to do more of this for our audience. And I think we are done for today. So please, you can follow us on LinkedIn. Personally, I will continue to talk about emotions, and I will give more recommendation in my post. So stay tuned and more on this space. Thank you again, Emma. Have a good day, everybody.
Take care.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.